All right, hey there. Sam back with you here. It's Monday, December 31st, end of the year here. We're going to finish up with Ethereum. So, now before I get to that, just a quick reminder here for any of you that perhaps didn't see this on Bitcoin. If you're just checking in on Ethereum, we do have this special going on right now, right? 20% off on the 3-month, 30 on the 6, and 40% on the 12-month. That seems to be the most popular here. So just a reminder, if that's something that's of interest to you, this is a good time to do it, right? Save a little dough. There'll be a link underneath this video, or you can always find more on Twitter. Come to our website at tradedevils.com. Okay, that said, now let's get over here to Ethereum. Now, just quick, always good to get a little perspective check as to where we are. What are we, $131, and where we've come from, 14, 17. Now, we're going to go look at it here. We'll go down to a 30-minute here. What's frustratingly, it's not a whole lot better than Bitcoin in terms of what it looks like here. And it's just as difficult technically for an Elliottician anyway. So, of course, much like Bitcoin, we've got a nice clean impulse, right? So this is the good news, right? So we needed to see that. Whether it's a one wave or an A wave, that all yet remains to be seen. But at least we've got it's a decent sized move. We essentially doubled, so we went from 80 to 160. All right, now we've given back a good chunk of it. So it's just as problematic, actually, in terms of this section here. It's very hard to finish that in 5. So let me take this off here before we get ahead of myself. I actually think the only way we can do it is with a truncated 5, which I hate to do. Feels a bit like a cop-out, but I can't find another count. I can get the A wave. I can get the B wave. Just like Bitcoin, I can't finish it. Doesn't finish cleanly, so I can get a 1, 2. Even the 3 is a little bit of a stretch. It looks more like an ABC, so you might have been thinking, oh, okay, maybe I've got a diagonal, but this disqualifies that. So you got to do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the third, so you get an ugly looking 5th in that third. Then it looks like we go ABC, and we're all set to go down to finish the 5 down here, but we don't get it. I don't think we have 1, 2, so it's just so ugly to try and finish this as 1, 2, where there's no way to do it. The symmetry would be just so god awful to try and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just doesn't work, right? So I'm immediately suspect of this low because this low didn't finish it. So I'm a little uneasy with this count. So not ready to go overly aggressive into anything here because this makes me uneasy. So if I can't be clear about what I'm seeing in the count, I need a lot of evidence to support a position on either side. So pulling back out here, the highest probability to me for an Elliott count looks like we're in a WXY. So I can get the AB, I can get an AB ugly C, being forced to allow for a truncated 5, which I don't like doing, but right, you got to trade what you see, right? So we have an internal retracement that's it's almost identical to Bitcoin in terms of the front run. It's almost identical. And then we get this rip here, which I think has got to be called an ABC, which would give us our corrective wave for an X wave here. It's deep enough. So we, ideally, Elliott Wave International will tell you they want to see 90%, more. So we don't even make the 786, but it's the best candidate for an X. So if I've got the ABC down here, truncated 5, albeit I got to allow for it, and this is the ABC of the X, well, then I'm looking for an ABC to come down and finish. So it's going to need to play much better technically here. So do I have the ingredients here? Well, I'm reluctant to call that. It's hard. I'm 30 minutes here. Well, you've got something. It's just straight down. So how do you get a subdivision into that? You don't. So you just educated guess. Well, so maybe. So A, maybe. B. It's possible, right? So you can't. So you just have to call it something. So it's either an A or a 1. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is much more bearish. Now you got to pay attention to where we are. Right, 0 is not too far away. So if this is going to be the A wave, so common location. So what do you use here? You've got to use the lowest pivot here. You can't use this as your 5. So the algo doesn't care about the Elliott count. So pivot, swing low, dominant pivot, dominant pivot. We're looking A very commonly will retrace to the 50. So, all right, so what else are you going to do with it? You got to call it something. So if that's the A wave here, well, this is a good sign here for the B, right? So we go right to golden zone. All right, so it's technical. That's the thing, right? So the algos are still in here. It's not like they've abandoned ship because they don't like the price action, right? There's the golden zone, boom, down we go. So look where the target is. So if this unlikely to be where we pivot here. But we could get a reaction there, but the deeper pivot. So if we think about this as finishing as a C, looks to me like maybe the 1's going in. Oh, God damn it. Hang on. It's my least favorite feature of Trading View. Okay, so this is technical here. So we don't know that low is in. The 1 could be here. So trying to get a 1 to play. Doesn't look like it's quite finished here, so this would actually make more sense. So if we get A, B, and this is going to come down as, we can't really tell what we're going to get here yet, but if it's going to keep going, so if we're heading down here, this is a reasonable spot for the 1. Look for the retrace in the 2, 3, 4, and 5 still to come. That would put us at around low hundreds. So what else can we use to try and get some clarity on this? Well, we're going to have some geometry, of course, so we can work a set of median lines here. So from the pivot to the swing low, let's get it right on there. So, okay, all right, so could we have 1's going in, 2 still to come? Let's get this off here. So, waiting for the 1. For the 1 to give us a clean pivot here. We don't know where that's going. We can do some projections, so we can take the length of the A, the proposed A, projected from the B, and say, well, here's a 100% reasonable target here. If this is ultimately going to get deep enough here, this is not uncommon if we're going to go deep, right? For 1618, 175. So we've got that as a potential target down here. Now, how does that line up with our median lines? Well, depends how fast we get here and what the shape of it looks like. So potentially, you'd have to go to a modifier. Now, you can also, right, I like to do this, get them both on here so I can see and look for that confluence zone. So this potentially down here gets interesting. So then we'd think, okay, if that's the WXY, we'd want to see something technical in terms of the swing relationship. So I'm going to use the low pivot. Okay, so here now we get a little confluence here. Here's the 100%, not uncommon. Let's get that right on there. So we get a little stacking down here. Looking for this confluence zone, which would be pretty sexy to get that. So if we come down here, 3, maybe a move. So with 3, 4. Come down, finish it down here. We don't know what that looks like. Just trying to get a roadmap. So here, this puts, let's call it 96, 97 as a reasonable target. We can pull this over a little bit, I guess. So there we go. So potentially now we've got a target down here to allow for this to correct and complete. Right? It just doesn't look like it's complete. So we can draw up now, of course, from the swing low to our swing high and see how we look here. So look where the 786 comes in. So I like this. So this would be an area to be looking for. That would put us at, again, we'll call it 97, just split the difference. So if we can finish, so we'd be looking like this. So that impulse is in, we'd be going A, B, down for the C. Now, what's the trade? I would not, so buying off of that, it's high risk, right? So the safer way to go is wait for the reaction. First, let's get a reaction. If we get a reaction, then I would take the first retrace and look for that. That's the trade. It's too soon to say, oh, low's in, 1, 2, 3, we're off to the races. But because you're trying to catch the falling knife here, even though we have this nice technical confluence, I'd wait for the reaction. You don't know what that looks like. So we might get something significant there. Then you get the first retrace. right? Then you might get something like that, get you out of this. What would we be there? We'd be 150, right? Remember where we came from. So this, is, it's all lines up there. Now we've got to break this. There'll be resistance here. So this 618 here, right? So if I pull that off, let's clear it up a little bit. So this, we know this is our target down here for that 786. So if we're going to keep coming, well, there's going to be resistance, as there'll be an algo that will be here from, let me pull this off so I can get that low. Okay, so from this low here, this little front run on the 618, so from this pivot here to this pivot, well, they've just hit the 50. All right, here's the golden zone here. So if the first thing they got to do is break that, because we can't ignore the possibility that this count is all wrong and that this is just an ABC with a truncated. Boy, I keep stalling on that, right? So interesting, right at the point of control is where we pivot. So the alternative being that I've got this count wrong and that this is somehow, whether we allow for the truncated C or not, that this is 1-2. So this is what will be the tell here. If we get this reaction here, potentially now this is, this could be AB, a short C. If we're going to hold the 618, they'll be buying interest here to try and get to that target. Interestingly, wouldn't disqualify it as an X, because then we just have an ABC. So remember, X needs to be corrective. So any corrective structure, and that would actually be more in line with what the ideal WXY. So you have a big push on the X trying to get to that pivot. It fails. That's why often you'll see them up at 80-90% of the A wave or the W wave, or the ABC, whatever this pivot swing is here. So that potential is still there for that to go up for the X, but still just be setting up the push down. Now, it would change some of the geometry, right? So with this would have to get moved. Things would have to get moved over. So can I get that? I don't think I can. So what I'm trying to get to is it's the bottom one. So this could move over here. Then the whole thing shifts, right? Then this would move over here. This would have, well, I don't know that would make much sense putting that there. So you'd have just a very big set of median lines, but it would tee you up for this move down here to finish the Y. Again, you need to do that in an ABC, but interesting how that would line up. So then all of this shifts over. You're looking for essentially a double bottom. Well, get rid of that. So you'd be looking for a WXY, and ideally you'd be double bottoming here at the 618, which would give us the all of the ingredients here for this impulse to have done this thing. We'd be a complex correction here. So whether it's a wave or a one wave remains to be seen yet, but that's kind of interesting how if we were going up to that kind of level here, we come back down, that sets us up in the golden zone again. And then of course, just as you did up there, you'd do this, right? Then you'd get this one going, right? You keep them working, right? It's always 80%. So right now, let's get this stuff off as we sit here. This is our contender, right? It's only that, just a contender for the X wave. So we can draw that same set of median lines here. So this right was where we started. So I'll leave it here. That still very much in play. Right? We don't know where, but at some point down here, it depends on what the subdivision looks like coming down. Is that 1, 2, 3 going in? 1 going in? Can't tell yet. So these are areas of interest here. This is 111, 119, and then down here at 97, 98. Those are going to be spots to look for. First thing that's got to be tested, right, is what happens here on this retracement here. First thing we got to do to get this count and this roadmap to start to play is we got to break this right here, this golden zone. Right? They break that, then you lose the algo here that's right here. Now we still have this one. Right? We don't know. Remember, we never know who's behind them. We just know they leave a footprint. So if you get a reaction here, we know why. And these guys are buying with this target right here. Right? We don't have a sell side here, right? Because this broke the 65. So you got to pay attention when you hit these, knowing that I don't have a sell side algo here pushing me for a target. Next thing I'm going to bump into is the buy side. Right, so and then if you got that reaction, well, you will have you always got to draw them both directions, right? So coming back this way, even though we broke here, coming back up now, you've got that one broken. Let's get this one done. So if we were to come down here, then you're going to have to draw them up from here. So if we come here, then you're going to have to get through this one. These guys, right? They'll be here looking to sell that, looking for that. Right? And that could take us down as an A, B, C. Remember, we're trying to finish the Y. So you've got all these potential variables here. There's just no certainty because we've gone so far down. So every impulse is suspect because we first thought is, oh, it's just an A wave. Right? Remember where we're coming from. It's just an A wave. Right? Just one more correction. But at some point, right, we're down so far where the odds of it being a one wave are going to start to improve. But we're not going to be able to be clear about it until we see much more price action. Only then, after we get a much bigger impulsive structure, where this would be just the one wave of the one wave of the one wave, right? Relative to the move from 1,400 to $80. This could be the one of the one of the one. So until you get some of that, you won't be able to confirm any sort of trend change. Just way, 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 way too soon. But we've got technical trading, right? It's always here. It's always technical, right? This doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how far down we go. There's going to be algo participation, right? The last stop, zero. Right? There'll be an algo sell at some point. There'll be a retracement at a 50 with a target of 0. Don't think there won't. But right, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We don't know that we're going that far right now. This is good. Look, this looks good, right? Nice to finish the year, miserable year that it was, with an impulse, and potentially now we're just correcting that. That's all we can see definitively so far, right? So let's stay with an optimistic note, right? Let's call it a one wave, the one of the one of the one. That's what I'm going with. All right, guys. Happy New Year to all. Hope you guys have enjoyed a good holiday season here with friends and family. For all of you watching, we appreciate it. We're always glad to hear comments and thoughts, and we read everything. And for members, we can't thank you enough. We appreciate you guys, and hopefully we can continue to provide good content for you guys. We got a lot of things planned for 2019. So with that, we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the new year. Okay? All right. And just again, this link underneath. Okay, guys. See you later.